Hello, everyone. Welcome to our interview with Mr. Robotics. We have with us Matthieu and Guillaume from this company. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi everyone. So I'm Matthieu from Mr. Robotics, and I'm today with Guillaume in the next train who is in Paris, and our third guy in the company, Oliver, is not here today, but we'll try to represent him as best as we can.
For sure.
Yeah, let's begin.
Sweet. We're talking about your new robot, Robby, which is on Kickstarter right now, correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
right. You could.
We are, as you can see, we are on Kickstarter, and we have 9 days to go. So that's why we are here to present our project and to convince you how amazing it is. Yeah, and we have the robot also to answer to all your questions today.
Sweet. And Guillaume, you've got it over there, right?
Yes, I've here the Robby, our robot, in order to show you what he looks like with his 3 motors and omnidirectional wheels. So yes, let's talk about Robby.
Cool, yeah. So you've got those 3 omniwheels on there. That is one version of the robot, correct? You've got a differential drive version and a holonomic drive version?
Yes, sure. We try to have something most scalable as possible, and the first thing scalable is the motor. You could put like 3 motors with omnidirectional wheels, but you could also put like 2 motors in another here with 2 normal wheels, and you could change as much as you want.
Yeah, what we have wanted to do is a really scalable robot. So that's why you can change the wheel, but you can also plug and play some extra sensors. If Guillaume, you can show us what it is. Like we have a sonar, we have many different things.
Cool.
You just have. Sorry?
Cool sonar thing in a 3D printed case. That's cool.
Yeah,
and those attached to the main robot by these magnetic I2C ports?
Yes, you have like 6 magnetic ports and sonars and all of different captors. You just plug them and it's magnetic. You have the electronic connection, and you could put 6 of it just around the robot to see and to have different things. Captors and sensors allow us to have dozens of configuration, and this is nice because everyone do what he wants with a robot. Yes.
Yeah. What kinds of extensions are you looking for people to build on this robot?
The idea was to allow everyone to build what he wants. So we have 2 main public, the beginners who will be provided with tutorials and stuff like normal sensors. We have sonars, we have some LEDs, we have also time of flight and all that sort of sensors. So you will have a tutorial for each of them and you will play with it. For more advanced people, because our robot is based on a Teensy 3.5, so multi-core processor, you can just put the sensor you want, plus on the top of the robot, you can add a camera, a multi-axis robotic arm, and all that stuff allows everyone to do whatever he wants. So if you look in our video on the Kickstarter, we put for example, a birthday cake, and the child in the video tries to move the robot with the birthday cake, but we can fully imagine whatever you want. Like another guy said that, oh, I want to plug a GoPro on it with a robotic arm to watch my house when I'm not here. And that's really the idea with Robby, is everyone can have fun with it and everyone can just do whatever he wants.
Super cool. And you mentioned these sort of getting started tutorials. Are those for both the block programming and the Arduino programming? Are you going to include both?
Yeah, so we have I don't know if you know what it is, but it's called Blockly.
Oh
It
yeah.
has been created by Google. It's a little bit like Scratch, and so all the sensors will be available with Blockly. So you will create it, and after you can use the Arduino IDE to just create the code in C++ and to upload it in the robot. What we have created is our own library. So you have our own function. As I told you, Alex, before, all our library is ready to use for the 3 wheels version or the 2 wheels version. So
Yeah,
everyone
cool.
just have to declare in the beginning of the library and can create whatever he wants. And that's also why we decided to create our own board model. I have it here.
Wow.
So it has been created by us, and it's here. You can just plug a Teensy 3.5 in order to have all the possibilities of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that library is super cool because looking at, the Wikipedia for holonomic drive, it looks like super complicated to figure out how to actually control that. But it sounds like you've sort of optimized to make it really easy for people to switch between the two drive systems, but also to make it very powerful so they can add extra controls in if they need to. Is that right?
Yeah, we try to perfect the self-learning. We try to create an experience around Robby, and we try to have the much sophisticated software and hardware, but to simplify it for beginners. So if you start, you have lots of tools to discover things and to self-learn. And
Mm.
if you are more aware
Then
of the technology, if you could also already program or something like that, you have to
Oh.
yeah, it's automatic. You
Ah.
have to you have lots of tools around it.
And what is also, I will show you here. We have created also a sort of documentation, a sort of Wikipedia for all our functions. So it's currently in French, but it will be translated soon. And so you have all the functions from our own library, which are ready to use for the holonomic version, but also the differential version. So it's really ready to use for everyone, but for the most advanced one, it's open source, so you can contribute and
Yeah.
whatever you want. And we also need your help to help us to grow this community and to improve these thousands of configurations.
Yeah, let's talk about how people do that. So you've got this sort of very great emphasis on makers and making it open. I love this definition you gave of makers in the video, of people who learn by doing and creating prototypes. That's a very succinct but very accurate one, I think. And yeah, so how do people contribute back? Do you have a community?
Yeah, the idea, and that's why I also learn Hackster, is learn to design, create, and program electronics, and
Yeah,
that's really what we want to do. So we
totally.
will push and provide some helps with configurations and tutorials and also stuff like this. But we also want to grow the community, and that's why the next step after the crowdfunding campaign is to have a forum in order for everyone to push and put whatever they want. We have also an open source library with a GitHub, so everyone can contribute and do a fork with their own library. So if we take an example, if, for example, I take the robot and I want to develop a high definition camera, and on that camera I want to put a library to follow a ball, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely just push all the content on the official Mr. Robotics library to help others on the forum and to provide this as an open source community. So that's really important for us. We really want to keep that spirit of makers, and that's also why we created, it's only made by wood, so it's laser cutted, and
Right.
for the sensors, they are 3D printed. So we really want to keep that spirit of makers and because we want people see all the electronic stuff and all what they can touch and feel it. So that's really important for us. Yeah.
You mentioned in the video how you started doing a MOOC, but found that it was not concrete enough, and so this is sort of like bringing all that stuff that you might learn online into the real world. And there's different price points to make it pretty accessible. Is that right? You've got the omnidirectional drive is sort of an add-on, and then you've got different options with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Guillaume, do you want to talk about it?
Yes, we try to have something very accessible, and also you could easily complete packs. For example, I said you could buy, for example, 2 motors, and then you want to buy a third motors. The structure in wood I've designed is laser cut, as Matthieu said, and you have like lots of small things to have a scalable things. And so I think our first robot is approximately 179 euros. And you could add lots of things around it. And a great news that we are currently developing in our internet website is the mentor things. We would like to, in our community, to have some mentors, so advanced people who can help and teach for beginners people, thanks to Robby online or in a special place. For example, in Paris, you have like place where you could learn robotics. So this kind of mentors can be found on our website.
Awesome, kind of like a virtual hackerspace. I love it.
Yes.
Virtual and like live people, because we want to find a balance between the real stuff and electronic stuff, and that's why it was important to have a concrete robot. And I just want to add something about Guillaume said, is also the price of the 3 wheels robot. It's like 289 euros. So it's quite reasonable for omniwheel directional, and we really want to keep that price low to allow everyone to access to electronic, to develop, to create, and that's also part of the maker spirit, which is important for us. So that's why the prices are not so different. We created 3 versions on the Kickstarter. I can already tell you that we are going to keep only 2. So the middle one and the omnidirectional one. Why? Because the first one will be addressed to the schools, because that's also a market we want to reach. We want to and that's a news for our Hacksters friends. So we want to address people at school and students to also allow teachers to learn electronics and help people to discover that wonderful technology field.
That's fantastic. And I love how on the Kickstarter itself you have actually the price of each of the components broken out so that people can see like where the money is going, like why it costs what it does, which I think is part of the getting into robotics thing. People look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so expensive. But then like once you realize that like motors especially are like a lot of money, especially like servo motors, but then you get into omniwheels and stuff. If anyone's not familiar, omniwheels are super cool. You can drive them like they're basically a wheel within a wheel. Could you show that off for a second? I think it's so cool.
Yeah, for example, you're right. We try to precise that the price of all components, and we are metallic wheel, which you see that we choose lots of very precise and very expensive components in order to have the best robot. You start beginning with this, and when you are very advanced with the robotic, you could keep using Robby, and this is what we want. So you could see the wheel, the omnidirectional wheel. It's pretty cool. Yes.
And there's that whole aspect of, you start learning on this, and then the components are good enough that, as you say, you can keep sort of using it forever. And also, like, another big part of the budget on your site is going to support, which I think is fantastic. It turns out, because time and time again at Hackster, we see that the most successful like components and products are those that have a strong community and have a really good connection with the team that's producing them. And do you think that that's partly because you're all students right now, so you know what it's like to be learning? Or
yeah, I think also that's important to know what you are learning, what you are buying also, and also to know that a community is behind us, is behind you, and people are supporting you. And as co-founders, of course, we'll be part of this community, but we won't be alone, because having a community of only 3, it's not a community. That's why we want to have people who help for the development, who give some ideas. And that's also why we choose a crowdfunding campaign instead of just pushing the robot directly on sales. It's because we want, before delivering it, to like do surveys and ask people what they really want, what is important for them. For example, if someone tells me like, okay, the price of the motor is maybe too high for me, but you could instead put another module or another sensor, we will listen all that suggestions, because that's important for us. And yeah, being a student is when you realize that you want to be part of the construction, and that's also the entrepreneurial spirit. You want to be part, and you want others to be part of your sort of dream, electronic
cool.
dream.
And I can see people actually, eventually designing their own laser cut pieces to use with this robot, because everything's modular. You could totally swap out, the 3D printed bits or the laser cut bits with something that you designed yourself. In the future, you're looking at doing summer camps as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we are already doing summer camps in France. We have yes, we have one lessons with for people beginning at 13 years old, I think. So you see that you could really start with the Robby and develop your curiosity, your programmation skills, and all of things with this. And he is enough good and enough yes, super cool to develop lots of things with him.
And what it was also really important for us to have summer camp, because it's exactly like mentoring. It's really nice to have a robot and online tutorial, and for example, people who had the curiosity to go on Hackster or other website to find how to do stuff is amazing. But there are also other people who look shy or who doesn't want to try, and it's important for us to have this mentoring or this summer camp to tell them, okay, let's go, guys. We are doing it together. You can't break anything, and even if you break something, it's just wood, so we can definitely replace it. No, that's really important. I mean, the wood is, so we decided to took 5 millimeters, so it's quite resistant. But if in the worst case you break it, you can definitely just replace one part. So that's not the end of that's not the end of Robby. That's not, if you just lose your phone, you have to replace it. That's not the case with Robby. And that's really important for us.
Yeah, and we found that in talking with hardware companies, it's really important as well for them to get that instant feedback. You see the first 5 minutes someone's interacting with your product, and you get a ton of valuable information about like where people are getting hung up and how to get them to that first, you call it the aha moment of like, oh, I made a thing and it works. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's amazing, because especially when people doesn't have this haven't created before technical stuff or electronical stuff, that's amazing. And we have already tested Robby. That's amazing to see people building. And even just if the LED, for example, we have a module with a LED, and when the LED turn on, to see the guy just saying, oh, okay, I made it, now it's working, now I want to go further and to create more and to design and create more. That's amazing. And yeah, I totally see what you are talking, Alex.
That's so cool. So I guess we should probably start wrapping up. But to go back over it, so you're live on Kickstarter. It's called Robby. The campaign is open until March 17th, and you're looking to ship in July and August of this year. Is that correct?
Exactly. So you have like different backers rewards. So we really need your help because we are at 68%, I think, right now. And so we have only 9 days to finish the campaign. So we really want to help you to help. There is like rewards for everyone, and everything will be shipped on the beginning of July.
Cool.
July, August, yes.
I've got
If
to
you
get.
could, sorry.
Oh, I have to get one last shot of you with the Eiffel Tower in the background. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Sorry?
What were you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that Matthieu could probably show us again the Kickstarter, because the educational dream is becoming true. It missed like 40%, something like that. And the goal is there, and we have to go with Robby further in order to push the programmation, to push the curiosity to all of you and
Yeah.
all of people.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been awesome, and I really hope that you make your goal.
Thank you very much, Alex, for having time, and goodbye.
And thank you to Hackster too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ciao. Have an awesome one.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank
Bye,
you very
everyone.
much. Bye bye. See you on the Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.